Great. Looking for basic JavaScript projects. There are a lot of people who are started learning JavaScript, and then they ask themselves the projects that they need to start with. So this is a simple counting project where you press on decrease, and then the number will decrease, then increase, the number will also increase, then you press on reset, and the number will reset, will start from 0. So now let's look at the code behind this. So we'll start by looking at the HTML. So we have counting projects, then label 4. So the label 4 here is the 0. Okay, so you can see here we have the 0 here. Good. Then we have button, the decrease button, the reset button, the increase button is also here. Good. So that is for the HTML. And then let's look at the CSS. Okay, so this is the CSS code. For the body, I gave it a background color of RGB for 146, 143, 31, and 68, depending on the color that you want. And then I give it a lenient or a linear gradient. Good. So this gives us this color here. Here is a deep pink, and here is a light. You see. So that's the gradient. And then align items, depending on making sure that all of these things are placed in the middle of the body. And then we have count label. So when you come to the HTML, you have the label, which is having a class name as what, count label. Good. So this is the style of the count label. That is the 0 here, the 0 here. Good. So I gave it color of #33, and then display block, text align, making sure that it is in the middle. Okay, making sure that the 0 is in the middle of the div. So you can see that when I comment the text align and save it and go and view it in the browser. Good. So let's continue on. So the text align, make sure that the 0 is in the middle. So text align center. Good. So when you comment it, it's going to be taken away. This 0 is going to be somewhere here, or it will be outside the div. Then you have font size. The font size, making sure the size of the 0 there. So let's say let me make it 20 here, and I save it and view it in the browser. You can see that the size has what decreased. So that is the font size. Then you have the H1. This H1 is the counting projects. Okay, so the counting projects, that's the styling for the H1, depending on the color that you want. Then here too again, text align, making sure that it's in the middle, and then this is the color that I've given to it. Then the next one is the div. You can see that all of this element, they are in a div. Okay, so when you look at typically in the CSS, in the HTML, here is the div, and all of the elements are in. Okay, so here is it. So this is the styling for the div. This one is not necessary, so I can take it away. So I have text align, making sure that it's in the middle, background color, which is white here. Then I have margin left, making sure that 30 rem, making sure that it pushed away from the left. So margin left from here to here. Okay, so when I try to comment this and save it and view it in the browser, okay, so when I view it in the browser, you can see that it is moved from, at first it was here, the margin left. As I commented it, you see that it has moved it to the side. So let's say that I uncomment it and view it in the browser again. Sorry, so you can see that it has come back. Okay, good. Then the next thing that we are going to take a look at is the padding, and the padding deal with making sure that the elements are moved away from the 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 body. Sorry, the body. Okay, good. The padding make sure that the content, the elements are move away from the border. Sorry, good. So now let's continue on from there. Then we have border radius for the div. Here is the border radius. You can see that there is a little curve here. Good. So that is the border radius for it. So we can do a demo here by either increasing it. So let me make it 40 pixels, 40 pixels, and save it and view it in the browser. Good. You can see that it has some, you have some change here. Good. So that is the, depending on how you want it to be. Good. So I think let me send it back, and then we have height and then width. I believe this one you do understand. Let me save it again. Okay, so height and width, from the top here to the down here is the height, and from the left to the right here is the width, or from my right here to my left here is the width. So depending on the height and then the width you want it to be, okay, depending on the height and then the width. So here is the width, which is W, and then there is the height. Good. So that is that. Then let's look at another one, the button, or the button. Now you can see that we have button here in the HTML. We have button here, so I declared a button in the CSS. So margin 5 pixels and then border radius. So you can see this is the button here. So the border radius, you can see there's a round, is round. Okay, so that's the border radius that I've just explained. So in case I comment this border radius and save it and view it in the browser, you can see that here is that become rectangle. Good. So let me bring it back. Good. And then margin. So you can see that there's a space in between here. This space. Okay, this space are the margin. So depending on the space that you want, you use. So that is the margin, 5 pixels. Then we have, you can see that when you look at the button, I have styled it differently. I have different styling for it. Okay, I have different styling for it. So here is it. So when we come to the HTML file, we have div with a class or child selector, okay, or a div with the elements. So in program, you see that this one is a parent, this one are the children. Okay, come to the CSS. I selected div child, the third child. Okay, I have the third child, which is this one. Okay, so this is the parent, this is the children, or this is the child. So child 1 or first child. And you can see that we have a BR tag here. Okay, so someone can try to, without putting it on the line here, the person can try and then bring space here. Good. So bringing space here, or whether it is here, the browser sees is that what part of the children of this particular div. So that's why this one is the first child, this one the second child, this one is the third, fourth, fifth. So styling the increase button, I gave it in the CSS as what? This one is the first, second, third. So in the CSS, I have the third child, giving it what the this particular color, that is the tomato color. So giving this, having this color, and then this one is the fourth child. The reset is the fourth child. So I have it here, giving it this blue light color, and then the increase is the fourth child. Okay, so the increase is the fourth child. Sorry, the increase is the fifth child. The increase is the fifth child. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. So that's the fifth child. So we have it here, the fifth child. We have it here. So having the green like color. So that's the styling for that. Then let's proceed. So it's done. We are done with the CSS. Let me save my work for now. Then we come to the JavaScript. Okay, the JavaScript is very easy. Now let count is equal to 0. Now we assume that this particular 0 will be the count. Okay, good. So we set the count to 0 anytime we refresh the page or we start. Good. So then we have this particular syntax here, or code, get document document.get element by data. Then decrease button on click function. So this is function on click here means that whenever we click on decrease button, whenever we click on this particular decrease button, the code here should work. And what's the code? The code here, yes, the code here should work. So what the code means that, as I was saying, this count, okay, this count is equal to the 0. So we mean that this particular 0 here should be equal to 0. Okay, so here, whenever we click on the decrease button, the count should decrease. Okay, 1 should be taken away from what? The 0. In this case, when you press on it, 1 will be taken away from the 0, so we get what? Negative what? 1. Okay, so that is that for the the decrease button. Okay, so we have count label. So this count label is found in the label here. Here is the count label. Okay, so I call out this particular count label, which is the I call out this count label, which is the ID. So this is the ID that I have used here. Okay, good. And then dot content is equal to test content dot equal to the count. So which means that let me explain this. Which means that when you pressed on the decreased button, okay, when you press on the decrease button, this function is saying that this particular ID, which is the label, and then the count label, here is it. This count label, one should be taken away from it. So our start is 0. So anytime you press on the decrease button, 1 should be taken away from it. So meaning you get one -1. As long as you press on it, we are going to get -1. Good. So now here you can see that we have count count. Then we also have we mean that count is equal to, or count should be subtracted, or should be yes, count should be subtracted. So it means that count, this one is the subtraction sign, this is the equal to sign. Okay, so it means that anytime you press on it, the 1 should be taken away from this particular 0. Okay, so this syntax here means that the answer that we are going to get here should be what? Should be displayed here. Okay, so count dot test. So it means that the answer that we get here, so here is 0. So 1 will be taken away from 0, and we are going to get -1. And where should the answer be shown? The answer should be shown on the count label. And what is the count label? The count label is the label that we have here. Here, this is the 0. Good, so the label, we have it here. Good, sorry for the fumbling. And then we also have the reset button. To the explanation of the decrease button is the same as to the reset button, that whenever you press on the reset button, the count should be equal to 0. And where should the score or the value be shown? The value should be shown here. Okay, so the value is showing here. The count, when you press on the reset button, is going to be set to 0. Okay, and where should this be shown in the HTML? It should be shown in the HTML with the ID name count what label. Okay, with the ID name count label. So the answer should be equal to what? Count. Then you also have increase button. What is the increase button? Whenever you press on the increase button, the count, which is equal to 0, 1 should be added. Okay, so plus count plus equal to what? 1. So 1 should be added. And then when 1 is added, it's going to what? It's 0 now. When 1 is added, it's going to what? 2. Or when it is -1, when it is -1 here, as is -3, whenever I press on increase, 1 should be added to the number already that I'm having. So number is added, 1 is added to it, so -1, 1 is added, 0, 1 is added, 1 is added, 2. Good, so that is what that is doing here. Now, what if it works? Or when you get the answer, where should it be shown? Yes, again, it should show on the what? The count label. And then the count label, as I'm always showing, here is the count label. It should show here. It should be any value or any answer should be shown here. Okay, or should be shown here is it. So how should it be? It should show on the count label, and then it should display the text equal to what? The count. So that is the explanation to all of these things. And then this one, it can be, when I was creating it, is a beginner project for people who are starting with JavaScript. You can try your hands on it by looking at the code patiently. So this one, you can just give it to your child who's trying to learn 1, 2, 3, okay, or the count numbers. So you just let him or her press on the increase, and then it will be what? To be counting for him or her. Good. So this is a nice way. Yes, someone who has what the purpose of this project. That's what I'm saying. You can give it to a child who has started learning by the counting of numbers. Okay, counting of numbers. And you can also try to modernization here by saying that count is equal to what? 2. Okay, count is equal to 2. So let's say that when I press on it, okay, good. So that is this one is for the CSS. So here is the CSS code, and then we have the JavaScript code. Okay, this is the JavaScript code. This particular function here, make sure that whenever you press on the decrease button, okay, then 1 should be taken away from the 0. Okay, and then the answer will be shown in the HTML element, which is having the class ID name as well, label. And then this one is also for the reset. And whenever we press on the reset, the reset should be set to what? 0. Here is 0. And then the result should be shown to where? At where? In the HTML element, which is having an ID as what? Count label. Here is this. Here is it. This one. Good. So, and then the answer should be shown there. Then this one is the decrease code. It's the same thing. When you get this, when you understand this, all that you have to do is you change the ID, and you change how it should count. So the decrease, it should take 1, it should subtract 1. The reset, it should set to 0. The increase, it should add 1, should be added. So that is all. And then also I was talking about, I was saying that this one is very lovely. You can give it to a child who's just learning counting. Okay, so you can let the child learn how to count by just pressing on this one. Okay, and how to count and then subtract. Okay, so the child will know that when I add, I'm adding to, I have to, when I subtract 1, it's going to get what? 1. So maybe, so I have 10, I subtract 1, it's going to be 9. When I subtract 1 again, it's going to be like that. Good. You can also try to modify it and then add multiplication to it. So how do I add multiplication? Like multiples of 2. So you can try to change this one. Instead of 1, you can make it 2. Then here you can make it 2. Okay, so when you come here and then you press on 2, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, then subtraction. Okay, good. So you can also do that. Okay, good. Then you can also try to do something like if you have 2 and then you subtract 3. So let's say here whenever I press on the decrease, it's going to be increasing 3. Okay, so let's say that I have 3 or 6. So taking away 2 from it, what is going to be the answer? Okay, so I press on it and then 2 is added, 2 is subtracted from the 6, and I get what? 4. So you can customize it, you can modernize it, or yes, you can try your hand based on how you want it to be. And you can, yes, you can give this code to your child, your little child, to play with it, learning how to subtract and add, and then yes, the rest. So please keep following this code or this channel, and I'll be adding more JavaScript beginner projects so that you learn, yes, learn it. Yeah. So thank you very much for watching. There is it.